So just like, yeah, so good evening, everyone. We shall start the class now. A little recap from yesterday. Yesterday, we started the training officially. And yeah, so who is raising his hand? Do you have anything you want to say? Okay, please make sure you are not raising your hand if you don't have anything to say. Then let's also limit questions till after the class so that we can all concentrate on the class. Then also let's try and maintain decorum. Don't unmute your mic until you are told to do so. So a quick recap. Yesterday we looked at this, we started yesterday, and this is the day 2 out of the 30 that we are going for. So we shall be doing it on weekdays, Mondays to Fridays, okay? Because weekends are always going to be very busy for us. Now here, we are the one presenting El Johnson Academy, okay? In case this is the participant workbook, which we are making use of. The first thing we looked at yesterday was storing the interface. So whoever was not in the class yesterday, kindly go to that recorded section of the class. It was dropped on the YouTube channel. So kindly go and check the YouTube, try and follow up and all that. Then also try and make sure you don't miss class the next time. So what we did yesterday, we looked at the interface, we toured all through the interface. We looked at some Excel shortcuts that we use when we are doing that. We also look at what Excel is, what Excel is used for. It's used for calculation, charting, and database features and integration. We also went further to look at referencing, and we said referencing means a lot in Excel. So we said there are two types of referencing. We have absolute referencing, we have relative referencing. I gave a classwork that we did together. We tried to create the 2 times table from 2 times to 12 times. And we did that in this workbook. So you can see this place now. We were able to do this one by just 1 or 2 clicks. We're able to get this thing done, okay? So there are some things that are under here, which we also need to take note of. I sent us this Excel sheet. In case you have it, you will see that here there's a note. For convenience, make row absolute before applying formula along the row, and also make column absolute before applying formula along the column, sorry. So, and also I asked us yesterday, I said, where are the datas? So we discovered yesterday that the datas are across on this row 1. We also discovered that data is on column A. So if they say if you before applying they say that for convenience make row absolute before applying formula along the row, and make columns absolute before applying along the column. Who is this person disturbing the class? I said mute your mic. Ishaya Sadiq. It's Ishaya Sadiq. You are the one disturbing the class. Make sure you don't unmute your mic again. Okay, so we were able to look at all those things yesterday. Then so we did not look at this yesterday. So yesterday I told us that when you have a $sign before your alphabet, and when you have a $sign before your number, that means that you're making it absolute, right? So now we have this $sign is what indicates that you've made something absolute. So the alphabet are the columns. So just to reiterate that, the alphabet are the column, while the numbers are the rows. So these are the numbers, they are the rows, okay? So we say that when you have a $sign before alphabet, you have $sign before number, both of them are absolute. Then when you have just a $sign before a number, it means number represents row. That means it's only the row that is absolute. But when you have a $sign before alphabet, which is alphabet A, it means that column A is what is absolute. So this is A, and the the alphabet, they are the columns, in case you're just joining, while the numbers, they are the rows. And I gave us this worksheet, which we can all make use of. Then when you have just normal A and normal number, it means no dollar sign in front of both of them. It means that here, both of them, they are relative, okay? So you have two types of referencing. You have the absolute referencing, and as well, you have the relative referencing. Yesterday, we also tried to look at the functions, right? We started the logical function. We said there are three types of functions we have. There are three types of functions we have. We have we're looking at logical function. If I just catch anybody or mute his or mic again, I'll just take the person off the call. Okay. So we have two type of we have different type of functions as I said, but yesterday we started with the logical function. So this logical function, we have three type of function under it. We have the if function, which we started using yesterday, but we still need to work more on it because there's a lot you can achieve with the if function. Then we have the and we have the or. So now using the if function, yesterday we said an if function, okay, you have three things, okay, comprises of three things. You make a statement, right? Now, you make a statement because that statement as I will check that statement, whether the statement is logical. If that statement is correct, you are going to set two answers. One answer when Excel, when one answer you put when you want Excel to, when that statement you make is correct, there's an answer you put. The first answer is the answer. Then when the statement you made is wrong, there's another answer that are going to place also that Excel is going to pick. Then we now use that statement. We use the logical function, the if one, yesterday on our rent relief. And we said what the rent relief is saying is that you are giving, unlike before, what we have before, the consolidated relief, we have 1% of your gross salary or 200,000. So whichever is higher, the government is ready to give you as a relief. Then in addition, they're also ready to give you 20% of your gross salary. And I can quickly show you that what we have before, old versus new. Let me see if I have it opened. Okay. I don't want to show this thing, but let me quickly show us what I'm referring to. Old versus new. So we have the new year. If you check here, you will see that this is the old consolidated relief, right? The consolidated relief that we had before is 200,000, 1% or 200,000. Okay, yeah, you have 1% of your gross salary or 200,000, whichever is higher, you pick it, plus 20% of your gross income. So that is what we're giving before. Now, using the if, we also use the if to nest this formula. What is this formula saying? The old consolidated relief. They are saying that you have to pick 1% of your gross salary, compare it to 200,000. Whichever is higher is what you should pick. Then, in addition to that, also take 20% of your gross salary. That is the old, but because we are learning if, okay, I say that when you are using the if statement, you have to, when you are using the if function, you have to make a statement. When you make a statement, then you set two answers. One answer that Excel will pick if your statement is correct, another answer that Excel will pick if your statement is wrong. So what is the statement we have to make now? We are saying that if you check here, our P5, let me come to I told us that this is the name box, right? Name box. So just type wherever you want to go to on your Excel. You can come to the name box and type it there. I want to go to P5. When you type it in your name box, click on enter. Okay, automatically Excel will go to and highlight P5. So this is the P5. P5 is the gross salary. Remember what we are trying to do? We are trying to do the consolidated relief, the old law. And it's saying 1% of your gross salary or 200,000, whichever is higher, then plus 20% of your gross salary. So that is the relief they were giving before. So let's check the old, then we're going to check the new. So when I come, we're using our if statement. Our if, you make a statement, right? When you make a statement, you set one answer that Excel should pick if that your statement is correct, and set another answer that Excel should pick the statement is wrong. So let's see, what are we saying here? Look at the formula bar. Can you see the formula bar, everybody? They said if you are using an if, you start with equal to. So we say equal to if. We now open a bracket. When I say P5, remember our P5, that is where our gross salary is. So we say P5 times 1%. That means 1% of our gross salary. That's what we are saying. So we say our gross salary times 1% is greater than 200,000. Remember, we have to compare both of them, right? So they say 1% of your gross salary or 200,000, whichever is higher. So we now say 1% of our gross salary is higher than 200,000. We made a statement. So Excel will go and check our Excel will go straight to where P5 is. So let's click here. Let's put P5. Excel goes straight to P5. Okay. So I just press P5 on the name box and I click enter. Make sure your mic is muted. If I tell you again, you are mute your mic. Okay, as I was saying, so now what Excel will do, I'm going to take you off. If you unmute your mic again, Ilori Pamilerin, you unmute your mic again, I'll take you off the call. Okay. So what Excel will do is that Excel is going to compare 1% of this gross salary. So who can do 1% of this amount? So let me do it here. I say equal to 1%, right, times the gross salary, which is our P5. Then we click on enter. So 1% of our gross salary is actually 100 and so look at it, 129,600. So Excel now, we are telling Excel that this amount, let me come and put it up here. Let me put it up here. So we are saying 129,000. We now say 600, right? We say that is greater than 200. This is what we are telling Excel. So this is what we said here. When we came to this our formula, we said P5, which is our gross salary, times 1, which is 1% of our gross salary, is greater than 200,000. We are making a statement. We are telling Excel that 129,600 is greater than 200,000. We've made the statement. So Excel will check that statement. Is it correct? Can 129,600 be greater than 200,000? What is the answer? Who can tell me the answer? 129,000 is it 129,600 is it greater than 200,000?
No.
Okay, so we've made the statement. Excel will now check that statement. Is it logical? If the statement is logical, if the statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer that we set. The first answer we set is that we say we are telling Excel that 1% of our gross salary, okay, plus 20% of our gross salary. That's what we say. Okay, Excel, pick 1% of our gross salary and pick 20% of our gross salary, because the consolidated relief is higher of 1% of the gross salary and 200,000 plus additional 20%. That is the old law. So if our 1% is actually greater than 200,000, okay, then it means that because they are saying higher of both of them. So we are telling Excel that if this statement is correct, then just go and pick, because 1% is higher. So when I say 1% of our gross salary plus 20% of our gross salary, we've set the first answer. That is, Excel will pick it if this statement is correct. But if this statement we made is wrong, Excel will not pick the second answer. Excel will not pick 200,000 plus 20% of our gross salary. So that is the old law. So the old law also have the tax table that they were using that time. They were using this tax table before. They will say the first 300,000 at 7%, the next 300,000 at is 11%, like that. So, but we don't want to deal with all this. We don't want to start remembering what is in the past. And just taking us to see this one so that we can understand, appreciate the new law. Okay, so this is what the old law was saying. Well, this is not what we are looking for. Let's go back to our sheet and look at what the new law is saying. Now, the new law now, remember I'm explaining the if function. For the if function, you have to make a statement, right? And also set two answers. Excel is going to check that statement you have made. If the statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer you said. So let me make a statement. I can say something like, I can say, let me make a statement. I can say, let's say you want to give salary to certain people. So and I say that equal to, okay, you say equal to, you start with your if, you open your bracket, we now say that I'm trying to let you understand, okay? So I say Leke is the president of Nigeria. Okay, I'm making a statement. Okay, I put a comma. When I'm done with that statement, I'll put a comma. Then I will not tell Excel what I want Excel to do. If this statement is true, I'm telling him, so pay him 5 million. Okay, I'm just using a state. I'm trying to make you understand what we are saying. So when you put a comma, you put the first answer you want Excel to pay. Then you now put a comma again and now put the second answer. But if Leke is not the president of Nigeria, pay him 500,000. Okay, so I'm making a statement. What I'm done, I close the bracket, then I press my enter. Okay, now because Excel is dealing with formula, okay, Excel will not work like this. But whenever you want this thing, okay, I'm going to go, when we get to that place, I'm going to also explain that to you. But I'm trying to let you understand the if function. The if function make a statement. Excel will check how true that statement is. If that statement is true, Excel will pick the first answer that you set, right? But if that statement is wrong, Excel will pick, sorry. If that statement is wrong, sorry, oh, what am I doing? Yeah, so undo. Okay, I've undo, but it's not there. But if that statement is wrong, Excel will pick the second answer. So let me know if it's getting too complex for you. Let me know. I can still break it down to your level. Okay, so yesterday we looked at this sequence relief, and I don't believe that you already know it. I don't believe that you already know it. That's why I'm taking my time to explain it more. Franklin Owolo. Yes, your hand is up quickly.
So, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I appreciate your delivery so far. Although I was not online yesterday. However, some of these things are not so new to me, so I want to drag you back. However, I want to ask. Now, you were making a statement with Excel that you were trying to depict a formula that is using the normal sentence, using a sentence to explain to us. But I will appreciate if you just do probably on a plain sheet. If you can just demonstrate, I mean, just make an illustration with just a plain sheet on this formula.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. You can mute your mic. You can mute your mic. Thank you, sir. So let me go back to the Excel template. I know the reason why I'm taking my time is because I don't want to rush it. Okay. But yeah, this is a plain template I'm using. But let me just do something. Let me just press another sheet. Or should I go down? Okay, maybe here is fine. So I want to make a statement, right? I'm going to start with equal to, that is the first thing. Let me jump that place. Then I will now press if, right? When I press if, I will open my bracket. Then I'll now start my statement. So the reason why I put my equal to at a far place is because I don't want this Excel to feel I want to put in a formula. So I just say equal to, I now press my if. When I type if, okay, I open my bracket, then I now make the first statement I want to make. And I'll say, I can say that, I can just, you always have data inside some cells, right? You have data inside some cells. So like I can just say something like, yeah, I can just say daily. Oh, okay, because I didn't put equal to, so it will not show. So I can just say like, let me just do it again. So Leke is greater than, let me not write it. Let them not arrest me. So let me just say Leke is the president of Nigeria. Okay. So once I make the statement, I put a comma at the end of the statement. So now I will not put answers that I want Excel to pick. Now this is what Excel does. Excel cannot Excel doesn't have business with the answers you set. You are the one that will set your answer by yourself. Whatever you set as the answer that Excel should pick when the statement you make is correct is the first answer you're going to place. So because I'm done with my statement, I'll put a comma when I'm done with my statement. Then the answer I want Excel to pick, I say give him 5 million. Okay, so that is that. So if truly I am the president of Nigeria, Excel will check it, probably based on the data I have set in my worksheet. Okay, Excel will query this thing and see, is it true? If truly in that worksheet, there is things that evidence that I'm the president of Nigeria, Excel is going to give me select 5 million. Probably I'm trying to like give salary to certain individuals, right? So I'm trying to use Excel to quickly populate the salary that each of those individuals should have. So if is very handy. So once I finish setting the answer I want Excel to pick, if my statement is correct, I'll put a comma. Okay, then the next thing I'll now do is I'll now set another answer that Excel should pick if my statement is wrong. So I'm going to say, if it's not correct, give him 500,000. So once I'm done, I will close my bracket. So, and I press my enter. So that is how you do that. Now, because I didn't put an equal sign here, you can just see it plain. I'm just trying to let you understand that for an if function, it's made up of three things: a statement, an answer that Excel will pick if that statement is correct, or another answer that Excel will pick if the statement is wrong. So let's now come to this rent relief. We want to be fast now so that we can move. Now here, you already know that your salary, your gross salary, most people, they will be giving gross salary. Your gross salary is broken down into basic housing, transportation, and whatever it is. Then you add everything together to get what your gross salary should be. Fine. Then there are some deductions that are allowable, probably your pension, which is going to be your 8% of your basic housing and transportation. Fine. Once you have deducted that, then you also now talk about another deduction that is also allowed in lieu of the consolidated relief that they were giving us before. They now give us the rent relief. Okay, so they gave us the rent relief. And what is the rent relief saying? The rent relief is saying that, number one, know what your actual rent is. When you know what your actual rent is, then you now check the highest you can claim as a relief on the rent relief is 500,000. So the government is telling you 20% of your annual rent. Okay, when you do that, compare it with 500,000. Okay, now this time around, whichever is lower is what you're going to pick, not whichever is higher. Okay, so take the 20% of your annual rent, compare it to 500,000. Whichever is lower is what you should pick. Okay, so we now come here, look at this formula. We've already put all our rent for these people. We just say Dele, Taiwo, Said. We assume that they paid 1.7 million, 2 million, 4.5 million. Then the next thing we now do is that we now come and use the if function, because we cannot start saying what is the 20% of 1.7 million. So when we get it, we now compare it to 500,000. If it's not up to 500,000, we now select 20%. So that is too much manual work. But if you have like 1 million data on this worksheet, you can quickly use Excel. Just nest a formula that Excel will use to help you do your work. Okay. So yeah, we know that what we want to do, we want to take 20% of this amount. That's what we want to do. we want to compare it to 500,000, and then we want to select the lower of the two. So what are we doing? We now come here, we now say equal to, you start with your equal to, and remember you want to use the if, okay? The if, you open your bracket, right? You know that the if now, you have to make a statement, which Excel is going to check. So when I say 20%, okay, times our annual salary. Our salary is on, is it N84 times N84, okay? No, that is the rent. Yeah, that's the rent. Okay, so our 20% of our rent, which is in cell N84, okay, we say 20% of this annual salary, we now say is greater than 500,000. So it's greater than 500. Just make a statement. It can even be 20% of your annual salary is less than 500,000. You can just make any statement. And then the question is, you now ask yourself, when 20% of your annual salary, when 20% of your annual rent is greater than 500,000, what does the government ask you to do? Somebody should unmute and tell me what the government, if 20% of your annual rent is greater than 500,000, what did the government say we should do? Who can unmute it and tell me?
You will go with 500,000.
You go with the lower
Lower of
Lower of
500,000.
500.
lower
You
of
apply
500,000.
So, okay, thank you, everybody. Mute your mic, mute your mic. So this is it. What the government say, 20% of your annual rent, if it's greater than 500,000, then you cannot take higher than 500,000. Everything is limited to 500,000. So since we have made that statement, we say 20% of our annual rent is greater than 500,000, comma, we know that the highest we can take is 500,000. So let's put 500,000 here. Okay, 500,000. Maybe I don't need to put a comma. Let me just put 500,000. We take away the comma that is here, because anytime you put a comma, Excel assumes that you are done with your statement. So when immediately you finish your statement, you put a comma. So don't put comma in between 500,000 or 1 million or whatever. So once we say, okay, 20% of our annual rent is greater than 500,000, comma, and we know that whenever 20% of our annual rent is greater than 500,000, the highest we can select, can take is 500,000. So that is that. So we now put a comma here also. We've set the first answer that we want to pick. Then the next thing is that if the statement we make is not correct, if 20% of our annual rent is not greater than 500,000, then we have to pick the lower of 20% of our annual rent and 500,000. So we're now saying if truly our 20% of our annual rent is not greater than 500,000, then pick 20% times our annual rent, which is N84. Okay, once you do that, close your bracket and then enter. You can see now. So what Excel is doing, you are just making a normal statement based on information you have. Okay, but your ability to interpret it in Excel language is what matters. You are just telling, you are interpreting this law to Excel. You say, okay, Excel, this is it. What government told me is that when my annual rent is greater than 500,000, that we should pick this one. That's what you're telling Excel. Say, Excel, once our annual rent, 20% of our annual rent is greater than 500,000, the government is telling us to pick 500,000. However, if 20% of my annual rent is not greater than 500,000, then pick 20% of my annual rent. That is what we just did here, nothing more. That is what we did here. And at the end of the day, you just double tap it to copy the formula in every other place that you need Excel to pick. So if you check now, 20% of this 17, let's check something, equal to 20% times this amount, okay? You're going to get 340. So if you're comparing 340 and 500,000, the lower is 340. That's why we pick 340 here. Excel is picking 340. If you also take 20% of 2 million, okay, let's say 20% of 2 million, 20% of 2 million, okay, is 400,000. So if you compare 400,000 to 500,000, 400,000 is still lower. That's why Excel pick 400,000. Like that. That is how to do your annual rent. So now the last one I'm going to show us under our payroll, so that you know that in this training, apart from you learning Excel, you're also learning how to treat payroll. Okay, so I've shown us this if function. Let's go a step further. Apart from the rent relief, another thing that is important under payroll is what we call the tax table that we have now. Before, the old tax table is saying after you've deducted all your deductions, like your gross salary, Abby, this gross salary, deduct any expenses that is allowed. Deduct pension, deduct NHF, deduct whatever you can deduct your rent relief. Whatever is remaining is what we are going to call your taxable income. So let's do something like this. Let's call this one taxable income. So let me go like this. So we call this one taxable income. How do you get a taxable income? Your taxable income is your total income, which is this, right? Minus all the expenses that you are supposed to deduct. Rent is allowed. Sorry, I said pension is allowed, which is 8% of your basic housing and transportation. Pension is an allowable deduction. Another thing that is allowable is your NHF. In case you have NHF, you do that in your company, fine. In case you do NHF is deduct. Then if you have group life, okay, group life that you have, if you are the one that pay the premium by yourself, that group life is also allowed. Any premium you pay for yourself or for your spouse, okay, they treat it on like if you want to claim for 2026, you go and pick the premium you pay in 2025 is what is allowed in 2026. So any premium you pay on your personal group life, not the one that the government do for you, not that one. So any premium you pay on your personal group life is allowed. So you now say, okay, our gross salary minus the pension minus NHF minus any other thing that is deductible minus your group life, in case you have a premium that you are paying on your life for yourself and your spouse, is also allowable. Then the last one that is now the allowable one is minus the rent relief. So once you do the rent relief, you're going to then press enter. You're going to get what should be your taxable income. Okay. And in this case, now remember that this our salary. I told us yesterday that this salary is,
Okay.
who is this person?
Okay.
Who is this person?
Please, I have a question.
And I told you not to. Okay, go on.
So, you said the last one that is to be allowed is what? My network just cut me out now. After you pay for your life.
Okay, so the last one to be allowed is your rent relief. So the last one to be allowed is your rent relief, which is what we calculated here. So when you do everything, then that you will not whatever. So you are taking your gross salary minus your deductible expenses, your pension, your NHF, your group life. If you pay premium on your life by yourself, your anything that is deductible. So you do that. So in order for us to be able to appreciate this training, let me go and open a file that I use for this training in the past. So where can I get that file? Let me see. Minimal. I think I have a file for that. I'm trying to see. There's a file I actually use for this training. Okay, so let me do something. There's a file I use for that training. The tax payroll management. Can it be it? No. Not this. Okay, it's not this one. So let me go online and check for it. Okay, so while we are still on it, I need to open that file so that you people can see it and appreciate it. Okay, so just give me 2 minutes. Let me just share my screen. I don't want to share my screen any longer. I want to go back onto Excel. Sorry, I want to check so I'll just click on WhatsApp to load. Then when WhatsApp loads, then I will now pick the file. I think I have the file on my WhatsApp. Or let me go check my download. I should have it in the download. So let me check download. Yeah, let me search here. Let me search for salary. I should have it on the download. Salary. Yeah, I have it. Yes, I have it here. So instead of I will share my screen now. Sorry, I'll share my screen now so that we can continue. Two minutes, please. 2 minutes. I want to open this file. Okay, so the reason why I am doing this is because yesterday we started this process. So I just feel that rather than just make it stop that way, let's just finalize on this stuff we are doing so that we know that we are finalized with the payroll computation, so that whoever have any question on payroll before, their questions can be solved. Okay, so that is that. You can see my screen now, and I have another file that I've opened. Okay, so quickly, in this file now will show us what everything should be. Okay, so this is the file. Mute your mic. I don't know why people don't listen to simple instruction. So mute your mic. So normally, in a normal salary schedule, right? In a normal salary schedule, you are going to have your basic, you're going to have your housing, you're going to have your transportation. In a normal salary schedule, you have your basic, you have your housing, you have your different breakdown. So whatever breakdown you have, at the end of the day, you will have the gross emolument, right? So the gross salary is going to be there. So let me just go to this one. Let me use this one as an example. So we have this guy. There's a guy here, okay? There's a guy here. He's earning this amount. That is yearly. Basic housing, transportation. The reason why we normally break this down into basic housing and transportation is because you need to take 8% of the addition of your basic housing and transportation. But in a situation whereby your salary is not broken down, they didn't break down the structure of your salary, just take the 8% of the gross salary. In a situation whereby the company, they did not break down the salary into basic housing and transportation, so as a tax consultant or as an auditor or as an accountant, just take 8% of that gross salary of each of the staff, okay? So take it. Then when you want to take the employer's contribution, take 10% of the gross salary as well, okay? And you know, the bigger your pension, the lower the tax you pay. So pension is like an expense. You have your salary is like your income, then you have expenses that you can deduct from your salary before you not pay tax, okay? So the bigger, the higher the pension you are paying, the better for you. So now we have salary structure, okay? We don't want to bother about it. At the end of the day, we have what we call the gross salary. We all know the gross salary. Now, now from this gross salary now, we want to look at things that can be deducted. You can deduct your pension, which I've told us is 8% of your basic housing transportation. You can deduct your NHF, right? You can deduct your NHF, but you see this NSITF. This NSITF, you cannot deduct it. The reason is because it belongs to what was I looking at? Okay, so this NSITF, as I was saying, is the employer's responsibility. It's not your responsibility. So you cannot deduct it in your computation. Oh, what am I doing? I thought I deleted this. Okay, you cannot deduct NSITF. You can also not deduct ITF. Okay, they are not deductible. So it's the employer's responsibility. Okay, so somebody raises his hand. Okay, don't forget that this is not a payroll management training. I'm just using it to explain something, but ask a question. The lady raising hand.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my name is Bola. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, that was what I wanted to make sure that since it's not since they are employers' contribution, is there any need to bring it into the payroll templates?
Yeah, so no need. That's what I also said. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's no need to put it there. So, but you know, most times, most of these templates, they just make them so like they want everything to show, like the deduction, whatever is calculating on your gross salary. Or now, because all these things are calculated on the gross salary, so probably that is why you can see them here, but actually it's not actually supposed to be in this our payroll computation. So it's not the business of the it's not the business of the staff. Okay, so we can quickly delete it, but let's just leave it. I've deleted what is here. So now the next thing I also said is that you can also have the group life, okay, that you did for yourself and your spouse. You can also have it here. At the end of the day, you can see what are deductible, right? We have our, let me delete all this one. So you have your, yeah, so here we are working with these people. So you have things that are deductible. Your pension is 8% of your basic housing and transportation. Then I told you that if your basic housing and transportation is not, you cannot find it, just charge this 8% on your gross salary. Fine. Then the next thing, your NHF is 2.5% of your basic. Fine. That's not what we are here for. Your NSITF is not your responsibility. It's the responsibility of your employer. Your ITF is not your responsibility. It's the responsibility of your employer. But they normally charge it on the gross emolument. That's why you're seeing it here. But your NSITF is 1% of your gross emolument. Your ITF is also 1% of your gross, but it's not your responsibility to pay actually. Then you have the group life that you paid on yourself. Then the next thing we want to have is this our formula that I said is a rent relief, right? Remember we've done this already. I told us that we should have the actual rent. So in that question, we had 1.7, 1, 2, 3. We had 2 million, 1, 2, 3. We also had what was the last thing? I think 4.5 million. I think so. 1, 2, 3. I think this is also we had. Yeah. So this was what we had in that our template. Then once you have done this one, these are the deductions. Once you now come to your taxable income, you take your gross salary. Okay, this is your gross salary that you have here. This gross salary that you have here, you now start deducting all the deductions, your pension, your NHF, deduct your group life if it's there. Then the last thing that you're going to deduct is the rent relief, okay, which is the lower of your actual rent and 500,000. So once you have deducted that, then you are going to have what we call this your taxable income. So is this taxable income now that you now start using the tax table to now say, okay, where does this my income fall? Where does this my income fall? So now the tax table now, let's now check it. How do we now do the tax table? Let's now come here. So if you want to write, you can write the tax table. The first 800,000 is at 0%. So let me come here. Let's come and look at this place, our tax table. So here now, let's write it down. So the tax table now, after you've gotten your taxable income, okay, this taxable income is what you now start subjecting to the tax table. So the tax table now, let's put it here. Tax table. So the tax table is saying out of that your taxable income. Okay. Now the first one, number one, the first 800,000. Okay, the first 800,000 of this your taxable income is at where's my at? Is at 0%. So it has 0%, right? So now the next 2.2 million, 1, 2, 3, okay, is at, is it 15%? I think so.
Yes.
Is at 15%. Then the next 9 million, oh, sorry. The next 9 million is at 18%. I hope I'm right.
Yes, sir, you're correct.
So the next 13 million is at,
Please, Mr. Johnson is speaking because
who is this person disturbing the call? So the next 13% is let me go and check again. I've forgotten that one. Is it 23%? 21%.
21.
Okay, so let's just confirm it. From this our
It's
formula.
21.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get it now. So the first is 18, 15, 18, 21. Yes, so it's 21. So let's come back here. So that is the next 13 million is going to be at so it's going to be at 21%. Then the next 25 million, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is going to be at 23%. Right? Then the next, anything above, anything. Okay, so let me just say the rest remaining, the rest taxable remaining. So the rest taxable income should be at 25%. Yeah, somebody is raising his hand. Yes.
I can't see your screen, sir. I've
Yeah,
logged
because
out and
yeah, others. Can you see my screen, everybody? Others.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your voice.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
if you can't see my screen, is from your end, not my. It's actually from your end, not from my end. So probably you I don't know what to say, but this is the tax table. Okay. So now once you have gotten this your taxable income, the next thing is to now start applying this tax table. So now a lot of people, they'll start doing it manually. They first say, you now see that they have the who is this person? Yeah, who is raising his hand? Yes.
Yes, sir. So you were saying, sorry, my network cut me. So NSITL, we cannot deduct it. Why?
Okay, so whenever your network cuts you away again, just wait
Yeah.
until you get the recorded class. So NSITF is not the employee's responsibility. So it's the employer's responsibility, okay? Though it is calculated on the gross salary, 1% of your gross salary, but it's not your responsibility to pay, it's the responsibility of your employer. Okay, so now once you have done all those things, you have from your gross salary, you deducted all the expenses that is allowed. The next thing is to now get your taxable income. So this your taxable income now is what you now start subjecting to the tax table. So let's memorize this. The first 800,000 of your taxable income is at 0%. The next 2.2 million is at 15%. The next 9 million is at 18%. The next 13 million at 21%. The next 25 million is at 23%. So the next thing we want to do is that let's not do something here. We now say, I could have made this thing stay on its own. So let's say this is the first one is 800,000. 1, 2, 3. The next one is 2.2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. The next one is 9 million. Sorry, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes. The next one is 13. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The next one is 25. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The last one is I think is it 50 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is so that when we get to that table, you don't start asking me. So when we subject our salary to the tax, so this is our tax table, okay? The possibility is that the first one, we say the first 800,000 for our salary to be subjected to 0%, right? Then the next thing, in case our salary is more than 800,000, that means that we are not going to stop at just 0%. We are going to jump to 15%. So when we get to 50%, then we are talking about people who have salary that is, let me say, equal to, they have salary that is, they've subjected it the first 800,000 and then it's still remaining, okay? So you now check, okay, do you have up to 2.2 million? So that means that here, after we've checked for 800,000 as 0%, but somebody that have more than 800,000, they will be saying, okay, the next rate, which is 15%, should end everything you must have to be able to use 15%. You cannot have more than 3 million, okay, for you to stop at this 15%. So now, if they subject your salary to 800,000 and your salary is higher than 800,000, they will now come and push you to 15%. So they will not check. Do you have up to 3 million? If you have up to 3 million as a taxable income, then you can now end in this 15%. But if they still subject your salary to 15% and you have more than 3 million, Then you now come to the next place. You now have, let me just double click it. Let me double click it. So, sorry. Oh, undo. Yeah, so I want to double click this same. Okay, now look at it. So let me also do something like this. Let me come over here. No, sorry. I think, is this my formula? Is it working well? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so let me just click on comma. I want to see it clearly. Okay, so now this is it. If they subject your salary to the first 800,000, right? And they see that your salary is higher than 800,000, they'll push you to, because that means that you are not the person that will only earn at 0%. They'll push you to the next salary, the next tax rate, which is 15%. So for you to be on this 15%, it's either you have higher than 800,000, but the highest you have is not more than 3 million. Fine. So if they subject a salary to this 15% and they discover that you still have more than 3 million, they push you to the next place. It means that for you to be subjected to 18%, you must have above 3 million, but is not more than 11 million or 12 million per se. So they will leave you here. However, if they subject a salary to this thing and your salary is still more than this 11 million or 12 million, they push you to the next tax rate, which is 21%. So the reason I'm telling you all this one is that so that when I go to that formula, you understand what I'm doing. You will not be confused. Let's now go to that formula. Let's go to the formula. I'm coming. Okay, so please just give me 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I'm coming. Let me just put on so that my power will not go off. Just give me 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, you're muted.
Okay, are we still together? Sorry about that. Are we still together? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So let's
Yes,
continue.
go ahead.
Thank you. Mute your mic. Thank you. So now let's come here. So I just wanted us to understand what we have. So this is it. This is the formula, right? Instead of you to start doing it one after the other, you can use the if. And because we are looking at logical function if, that is why I'm bringing us to this place. We are looking at the logical function if, and oh, sorry. We're looking at the logical function if, and that is why I'm bringing us to this place to come and see the if. And I just use that opportunity to quickly show us what our payroll is looking like in 2026. So let's quickly come here. Remember, I told you that if you have a content in your worksheet, to access the content in your worksheet, if you want, I told us yesterday, if you want to edit the content in your worksheet, there are two ways I say you can do it. Mute your mic, please. The first one, I say you can double click, which I did. I double click, right? So let me, if you can double click the place, the cell. Number two, you can press F2. You can press F2 on your keyboard. Then the third one I did not say is that when you are at that place also, you can go to your formula bar. So if you are editing anything in a cell, you can forget, if you want to edit, if it's a word that is inside, look at this rent now. This is actual rent. So if you want to edit it, I can either double click the place. Once I double click the place, my cursor is in the cell, right? I can now start editing. That is the first one. The second one I said is that you can also press F2. So once you click on that place, press your F2 and your cursor is now inside the box. The last one I want to say is that you can also, once you place your mouse there, you can go to your formula bar to also edit. That is another thing I didn't say yesterday. The other thing is that if you want to change any of this word, this one is actual, this one is rent. If you want to change any of this word, double click first. Once you because I'm already inside the box. So this, what you do is that double click once, then double click again. You are going to select the word. So it's two double click. The first double click is to edit the box. The second double click is to select the word. Okay, so that's that. So I want to select rent. I first of all double click once, then I double click again, and I've selected rent. Okay, so that's that. So now I just said I should let you know that again. Now the next thing is that we've seen we understand how we got to our taxable income. Let's now come straight to this place where we have the tax table. So all this taxable income now, they will be subjected to the tax table. So how do we do that? That is what this class is about. This class is about how we can, sorry, I'm coming. Okay, the rent relief. I only put for, yeah, so this is where I put the rent relief. Let me go up a little. What's going on? Okay, I put the rent relief here. Okay, so here is it. So now, this is our tax table now. We already know that the first 800,000. So the first 800,000 of this, our taxable income, is going to be at 0%. So let's look at what the formula is saying. We are using an if function. Remember that if function is made up of three things. The first thing is a statement. The second one is an answer that we want Excel to pick. Then if that our statement is wrong, if our statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer. But if our statement is wrong, Excel will pick the second answer. So now we are going to learn how to nest if, how to use plenty if in a box. So let's look at it now. We come here. Let me press F2 so that we can see it clearly. I press F2. Now, can you see my formula? Can you see my formula? Nobody is talking. Can you see the formula on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
see it.
sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so mute your mic. Mute your mic. Thank you. So look at this formula. We already know what the formula is saying. The formula is saying the first 800,000 is at 0%. Okay. So let's now see what we are saying. Now, we know that, yeah, we are making a statement. Then after you make a statement, you should put a comma, right? So yeah, we say equal to if, Then we open our bracket, then we started the statement. The statement is that our X10, we say S10 is less than and equal to 800,000. What is our S10? S10 is our taxable income, where our taxable income is. So this is our X is our column, then 10 is our row. So where column X meet row 10, so that is where X10 is. So we are saying that what is in X10, which is our taxable income, we're saying is less than or is equal to 800,000. So Excel will go and check that X10. What is inside that X10? So let me go and check. Let's check X10. If you want to check X10, come to your name box. Okay, so if you want to check X10, come to your name box and type X10 there in your name box. So then I press my enter. You can see that my X10 is here. Excel will highlight what X10 is. So don't always forget that you can always go to anywhere from the name box. Just press where you want to go to. If I want to go to A1, let me come to my name box and I can just press A1. This is me to start scrolling up. I can just press A1 in my name box and press enter, and it takes me straight to where my A1 is. You can see where I am. Okay, so let's now press S10 again. Let's see what Excel will do for us. X10. Let's press enter. Look at what Excel is doing. Excel brought us to where X is and is selecting 10. So this is it. So that is fine. I just said I should also remind us of that. So now, what are we saying? Let's now check this, our formula again. Our formula is, okay. So this is our formula. We click on this space. Our formula said, I'm pressing F2 so that I can see the formula at a glance. Then let me try and come here so that we can see the formula at a glance. So our formula is saying equal to, if we now started the statement, we say X10 is less than and equal to 800,000. So is our S10, is it actually less than or is it equal to 800,000? Let's go and check what S10 is. Our X10 is actually 9 million. So look at our X10. Our X10 is 9,022,455. So now the question is our X10, is it actually less than 800,000? Who can answer the question?
No.
No,
Okay,
it's more than.
Okay, so let's come back to our formula. So we now say X10 is less than and equal to 800,000. So Excel will check that formula and Excel see that it's not true. Now, what is the answer that we pick? That we say Excel should pick if it's correct. We say Excel should pick 0. And that is what the tax law say. The tax law is telling us that if our taxable income is less than or is equal to 800,000, then we are paying tax at 0%. So assuming this thing is correct, Excel would have just picked the answer. And once you nest an if formula like this, anytime Excel gets the true answer, Excel will stop. Excel will not continue the formula again. So look at this formula, as big as it is. Once Excel is able to determine that X10 is less than and equal to 800,000, and it discovers that it's true, Excel will not continue with all this other place again. Excel will just stop at picking the first answer that we said. The first answer we set here is 0. And truly, our X10 is not less than or equal to 800,000. So Excel will not pick 0 because our statement is not correct. So what will Excel do? We are now putting another if. We are starting afresh. Okay? We're not starting afresh. We're now saying, okay, if this our S10, right? If it's less than or equal to 3 million, okay? Remember that the first 800,000 is at 0%. Then the next 2.2 million is at 15%. Don't forget that. So what we did is that we added 800,000, which is going to be at 0%. Then we now added 2.2 million, which is going to be at 15%. So because the percentage you want to use here is just 15%, we know the first 800,000 will be at 0. Then the remaining 2.2 million will be at 15%. So we must not take more than that salary bracket. Okay, that salary bracket that will fall under 15% is going to be the first 800,000 at 0%, then the next 2.2 million at 15%. So that is what we now do. We now say, okay, if this our S10 is less than and equal to 3 million, so as I will now go and check our S10. This is S10. S10 is 9.2 million. I mean 9.9 million 22,000. So as I go and check our S10, is it less and equal to 3 million? Who can answer that?
Is greater than 3 million.
So because S10 is not less or equal to 3 million, it's false, it's wrong. So Excel says it's wrong, right? Excel will not pick the first answer that we said. Look at the first answer that we said here. We say if this our X10 is less than equal to 3 million, Excel should say the X10, which is the main amount, okay, minus the first 800,000, which is supposed to be at 0%. So whatever is left, now multiplied by 15%. But unfortunately, our S10 is not less than or equal to 3 million. So Excel is going to repeat. We are telling Excel to continue to repeat the process until Excel finds a statement that is true. So whenever you are nesting a formula, Excel will continue to repeat the process until Excel now see an if statement that is true. Then Excel will stop. Okay. So now here we now say that we've started the first one. We say our X10 is less than or equal to 800,000. Excel check it. Excel say no. 9 million is not less than or equal to 800,000. So Excel did not pick the answer we said. Excel now went again and start the process afresh. You now say X10 is less than or equal to 3 million. So Excel now check again. Is 9 million less than or equal to 3 million? Is no. Assuming it is true, Excel would have just done this answer that we said. That we say X10 minus 800,000 that is supposed to be at 0%, then whatever is remaining multiplied by 15%. Excel would have done that. But because our answer is not, the statement is not correct, Excel will continue the process. Excel will not come again. We will not say, if our S10 is less than and equal to 12 million. So Excel now check this statement now. 9 million, is it less than or equal to 12 million? Who can answer that? Who can answer that?
Is less than.
It's less than. Thank you. So now, is this statement true or is it false?
It's true.
Okay. Okay, so since it's true, Excel is going to pick the first answer that we said. So what is the first answer? We say, now, how do we arrive at this answer? We know that the first, we have jumped the bracket of 800,000, which is going to be at 0%. We've joined the bracket of 2.2 million, which is going to be at 50%. So somebody should do 15% of 2.2 million. Somebody should do that for me. 15%. So yes, 15% of 2.2 million. What is the answer?
3,300,000. 330,000.
Okay, so 330,000. So you can see that here, because our statement is correct, right? Because our statement is correct, because our X10 is less than, okay, is less than this 12 million, because it's correct, then the answer that we set as the true answer, Excel will pick it. So Excel, what is Excel saying? We now tell Excel that, okay, Excel, remember that 800,000 is at 0%. Also remember that the next 22,000 is at 15%, and that is what we put here. That is the 22,000 at 15. The answer is what we put here. We now say plus. We now say, and we know that this our 22,000 plus the 800,000 cannot be more than 3 million. So we now say, okay, this our X10, okay, minus the first 300,000 that we've accounted for. How do we account for it? We know that the first 800,000 is at 0%. We know that the next 2.2 million is at 15%, which gave us this 330,000. So we now tell Excel that, okay, this our taxable income. minus the first 3 million that we've properly accounted for. And how did we account for it? We've considered the first 800,000 as 0%. Then the next 2.2 million, we've considered it at 15%. And that is what we came to put here, which is giving us 330,000. So we are saying 330,000 plus this our ex taxable income minus the first 3 million that we've accounted for. And that is how Excel is going to get our answer for us. So that is how Excel got this answer. So if you want to check whether this answer is correct, what do? We now say this 9 million, right? This 9 million minus, we know we have the first 800,000, the first 800,000, 1, 2, 3, right? We have the next 2.2 million, 1, 2, 3. So now we now say that equal to this one minus the first 800,000 that is at 0%, right? Minus the next 2.2 million that is at 15%. Whatever is remaining, we now multiply it by the next tax rate. So after we've taken 0%, we've taken 15% of 22 million, we're going to have like 330,000, Abby. So we're going to have 330,000. So after we've taken the first 800,000 as 0%, we've taken the next 2.2 million as at 15%, which gave us this amount. Then the next, whatever is remaining, we are taking it at 18%. So we're going to say equal to 18% times whatever is remaining. And this is what we're going to get. So if we add everything together, we add this plus 0 together, what are we going to get? So we're going to say equal to this 0, the first 800,000 is at 0%, plus the next 2.2 million that is giving us as 15%, then plus whatever is remaining at 18%. We press enter. You can see what we have. Exactly what we have here is what Excel also gave us in that our formula. You can see it here. So I'm just trying to let you know that until Excel gets to where it sees a statement that is correct, Excel will not stop. Excel will continue to repeat the process. It's like you are just repeating the process. You are going round and round in circle. So until Excel now find any statement that is correct, Excel will not stop. So that is how to nest an if statement. So you already understand what an if statement is. And the next thing is start nesting it the way you want. Start nesting it the way you want. And that is how we're able to do all this. That's how we're able to do all this. So that is that. So now, all these places now, you can see that there is no one that is higher than 12 million. All of them over here, they are not, there's no one that's higher than 12 million, okay? We would have gone further to now continue to look at what we are telling Excel to do. But Excel is following exactly what we have in the tax table. So that is that. So let me just give us 2 minutes to ask questions. They will move away from our payroll. 2 minutes to ask questions. They will move away from payroll. So quickly, you have the floor. If you want to ask any question on this, just raise your hand and then I let you ask the question. They will move away from payroll quickly. Anybody? Okay, so I assume nobody have any question on this. Okay, so quickly. Yes, I'm listening. Madam Aminat. Madam Aminat. I can't hear you. Okay, who else is raising his hand? Maybe you can, if you cannot if you are not audible, you can type your question. So, Mr. Franklin, quickly your question.
Thank you very much, sir. My question is, I want to understand this law, the new tax law regarding this a relief, rent relief. Is it that if is it that if 20% of your gross earnings or the higher of 20% of your gross earning or 500,000? So for example, if I don't pay rent, for example, I stay in an apartment of my own, am I subjected to 500,000 or no relief at all?
Okay, thank you for that question. Yeah, so if the law is so specific, the law is saying your rent is rent the law is talking about. So if you don't have a rent, you have no business with that kind of relief. Whoever doesn't pay rent has no business with rent relief. So leave it for people that are paying rent. You're a landlord. Leave it for people that are paying rent. Okay, God has blessed you, right? So another question. Anif Oshe Aminat. Or okay, she can't still hear, or I can't speak if you can hear me, Madam Aminat. Okay, so if you cannot hear me, or probably we can't hear you, type your question. So let me call on the next person. Olawale Adebayo.
Yes. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
So this is
good
my
evening.
question. So when you were taking us through the non-taxable income, so I want to confirm, what about health insurance? Because you only made mention of group life. What of health insurance? If one takes health insurance, can one also remove it as a non-taxable income?
Yeah, provided that you are paying it from your salary. If they are deducting that health money from your salary, whatever they deduct from your salary, as far as it's a deduction from your salary, then it is a relief. But if that deduction, if a company that is paying that deduction for you is not allowed, that's why you see that your pension that is allowed is only the 8% that you are contributing from your salary that they allow as a relief. The other 10% that your employer is contributing, they don't allow it as a relief. Okay, so that is that. Madam Anif Oshe, you can type your question. We might not take more than 3 again. Mr. Isaac.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
I just joined the class now, so it's not actually a question I want to ask. I just wanted to plead if after the class we can get the recorded video of the
Yeah,
class.
yes, you can. You can.
Okay,
You can.
sir.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so you can. Thank you. So Ojudu Oluwatosin.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Please, my own question is also concerning that rent. I have a reason for asking. Concerning that rent, are we supposed to like show evidence of payment to back it up, or can we just like give the figure? How are we going to go about the rent? That's the main issue I'm having, please. Thanks for everything, sir.
Okay, thank you. So what they say is that if you want to do your annual returns to LRS, okay, if you want to do your annual returns as part of what they're asking for 2026. Remember, the deadline is 31st of this month. So what as you are doing your now, because you do your projection, your salary projection for the year 2026, you need to show it to them. So you do your annual returns, showing them what you paid in 2025. You also want to show them what you intend to pay in 2026. So those projection, as part of the what they ask for, is evidence of rent. If you check the letter that they send, I even have a copy here. The letter that they send, they are asking for evidence of rent that you paid, because it's now part of what you are going to charge as relief in your computation. So you must have an evidence for whatever rent you are claiming in the computation. So thank you for that.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. Concerning the rent, the filing of return now is for actually for 2025 tax payee for 2025. So me, I'm looking, is it not supposed to be for 2020 when we are filing for 2026 in 2027 for that ending of January? Is it not supposed to
Okay.
follow the rent, something supposed to follow that time?
Okay, thank you. So what they normally do is that when you are filing for 2025, you're also showing a projection of what you are going to pay in 2026. So as you are filing for 2025, you're also telling the taxman, these are the staff that we have in 2026. This is the salary we want to pay them. This is the rent that they are going to, the rent we live, they are going to enjoy. So as you are filing what you have paid in 2025, you're also filing what you hope to pay for your staff in 2026. So that is that. So there are different schedules that you are going to submit. That's what I'm telling you. It's not only for 2025, you also show them a projection of salary that you hope to pay in 2026. So I think that is that for that lady. The next person, Ogenewoke Agboya. Sorry for that.
No problem. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, my first question is about this shrine too, but though one of them is what this lady have asked, and the other one is whereby a husband and wife, they are working
Okay.
and they are paying rent. So are they going to do, because they will compute for the wife separately and the husband separately? So are they going to
Yes.
use one rent, or how are they going to do it?
Okay,
Then
so
the second one is, if for instance you are working in Ikorodu, maybe your workplace in Ikorodu, and you rent an apartment there where you are staying, then maybe they now transfer it to somewhere like Lekki or Egbeju Lekki, and you don't want to leave that Ikorodu apartment. So you say, okay, let me move to this place, get another apartment and start paying rent. Can you combine it as your annual rent too? That is
okay,
my
so
2 questions about rent. Thank you, sir.
okay, so it means that you are staying in Ikorodu normally. Now they say that wherever you stay is where you should pay your payee to. So if you are staying in Ikorodu, you are working in. So I'm trying to say that if you are staying in Ogun State, for instance, you are staying in Ogun State and then you are working in Lagos, right? It's allowed that you pay your payee to Ogun State government, right? However, if you are staying within Lagos, you are staying in Ikoju, you're also staying in Lekki. I don't know how that is possible. It's still within Lagos. You're going to pay to Lagos. So if you have evidence that you are staying in 2 places, which the taxman, though is in your name, but they may start asking you questions that why are you wasting so much money? But at least you have evidence for it. So you can use one for the husband and let the wife take the other. So it's even very good. The wife can take one of the rent, while the husband will take the other one. So it makes it very simple. However, if both of them, okay, it's the same thing, because for somebody to have a house in Ikoju and have another house in Lekki, that means the person must be a family person. Because if you are not a family person, if you are living in Ikoju, you leave everything over in Ikoju and come and start your life in Lekki. So it means that you must have a family there. So whoever is there can use that other rent, while you can take the other rent. And in a case whereby husband and wife, they are sharing only one rent, then they have to make up their mind which of them will use it as the relief. Whether you want your wife to use it or you want the husband to use it. But another thing, since they want evidence and then they cannot detect that you have used it, maybe husband have used it before or wife have used it. You can, if they are not working in the same company, you can use it as far as you have evidence. Present to them that this is my rent, right? This evidence that I paid, and then they can do their findings and they discover, okay, truly you actually paid. So if you are not in the same company where you are presenting the same receipt, you are in different companies, you can use it, right? So that is what I feel. But you can still go on to ask your tax officer, because every company, they have a tax officer that is handling the jurisdiction of that place where their company is located. So you can ask, but I can tell you categorically that if you ask the taxman this question, the taxman will tell you only one person should use it, because the taxman is like someone that has a target, right? He has a target. He wants to meet his target. So anything that will make his money not complete, he will not accept. He won't accept it. So me, I'm just telling you, I'm not saying go and do what I asked you to do. I'm just saying it's possible. You can, if you are not in the same company, you're in different companies, this one can present it in that company. Whoever tax people that are in jurisdiction of that place, they see that there's evidence, fine. Then your husband can present it in the company he's working. whatever tax people that are handling that jurisdiction, they can also see that truly is paying tax. So that is that. I'm sorry, it truly is paying rent. So I think we are done with that. Let's not take any other question again. But we have only one person. We have Folusha. Has Folusha asked any question? Folusha? Okay, what about the situation where the rent is paid by a third party?
Look, please, I have not asked any question. I want to ask.
Okay, go on, sir. It's your right, sir.
Now, it's not really asking question. I want to contribute on the rent relief. Those you have done well on the rent relief. Now, the issue of the rent relief, you will present a concrete evidence, the evidence of the receipt, the address, the information about your landlord need to be submitted to your employer. The tax authority will ask for those evidence. The reason is at least the landlord have collected money from you. You can't collect money and shop it now. You have to pay tax on it. So for them to do the follow-up on the or your parents. Then for the one that ask, maybe you bid a house. Now, if you bid a house with loan and you are still servicing the loan, maybe they are deducting the loan from your salary. There are relief for that too. Maybe you bid a house on the loan you collected, maybe and they are deducting from your salary. Relief on it. The loan, though loan to bid it, but you have finished the loan, please, that one is not, you can't benefit from it. But if you are having your own house, the relief is not automatic. That rent relief is not automatic. But it's not automatic. You have to present a concrete evidence to your employer that will present to the tax authority during their filing. Then I want to tell us that information, please, is an offense and it's a criminal offense. There is no civil offense again in the tax law or a criminal offense. So please let us take note. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sorry, sir. So some of the things you said, your network was breaking and we couldn't get them clearly. So can you kindly talk about the when someone takes a loan from the company, and so is it the interest on it that so that they can get the clarity? Is it the interest they're paying, or is it the
interest on it? Maybe you take a loan, maybe from bank.
Okay.
That is, they are deducting from your salary. Hey, they are deducting, they say, okay, deduction of loan or interest from your salary. Then that is, you have the evidence that maybe this loan was used to build the house. Then there is a relief. They will give you relief on it. But it means that you are still paying the money. Not that maybe you have finished the loan, but they know you are still servicing the loan. Down there is a relief. But in a general plan, maybe you have settled the loan before this new regime. Then they will not service it. You don't have any deduction or you don't have any relief on it. But if you are still servicing it, then there is a relief on it. For those who goes to bank or who borrow money to build their house, there is a relief. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Also, before you go, sir, you also mentioned about it being a criminal offense. So what is the criminality in it? Is it not having an evidence to back up so that they can get it clearly?
Just for instance, maybe my house rent is 500,000.
Okay.
Now, because I want to get, you may be on the same level now, and your salary will be different. Now, maybe
That's
before
true.
those who are in level 6, level 7, or level 12, they are collecting the same salary. But with this new tax law, your salary may be different if your house rent is different. Now, not because of maybe my friend now is claiming 1 million naira house rent. Then, because I have to claim so that we'll be able to collect, and maybe my own house rent is 500,000. Then I have to falsify the receipt and every other change. No, the tax authority will not grant you the relief blandly. They will do their findings. And maybe when they do their findings, they discover that your house rent is 500,000, not 1 million naira. it means you have fortified the document. You have lied. So the penalty will go to your your company, then your company will have to look for you. So that's why I'm saying that when you are in instant to claim the relief, please let us be mindful of the penalty behind it. Or if you don't have any, if you are living in your house, your salary will still be increased. Your income will increase. For those who have collected salary now, there is a little increment in their salary. So even though you don't claim rent relief, you at least still have something on top of your salary. Down, being in your house, you are living in your house, your own house, then you are claiming that you rent an apartment. Then later they found out, they discovered that you are telling lie. Then they will come after you, then there's going to be a penalty for that. So that's what I'm saying, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful explanation. At least a lot of people were able to gain a lot. So for those people that are talking about net salary, make sure you work back from your net salary to get your gross salary. So you can always they will always show you what your deductions are. They will always tell you what your deductions are. The HR person will tell you that payee was deducted, pension was deducted, this was deducted. So just add it together. Once you add it together, you are able to get what your gross salary is. Then come and compute by yourself. You already know how to compute. You know how to get your pension. So if you are somebody that they normally break your salary into different structure, basic housing and transportation, you can go and check by yourself. Are they really getting the right payee for you? Are you paying the right payee? Are you overpaying? Are you underpaying? Then there are some people that the HR in the company, they are not accountants and they don't want to bother themselves to learn the new tax law. They just believe that they can just continue from whatever they are paying last period. So make sure that if you're an HR person, you don't know how to calculate it, you need to learn how to calculate it. If you're an accountant, you don't also know how to calculate it, make sure you learn the right calculation. Don't just rely on what they had for last year. Make sure you make effort to learn how to calculate with the new tax law. It's very important because if you don't do that, you are going to be cheating your staff that you are paying with the old tax. Make sure you are using the new tax law. With the new tax law, you will discover that the payee you are going to pay this period is going to be less than what you paid last year. So if you compare December last year, what you paid as payee, compare it with what you are paying in January. If you discover that there is no difference between what you paid last year and what you're paying now, it shows that either the person that is computing your payroll does not know how to compute with the new tax law. So you that you know it, do your own calculation and go and show it to them. That look at it. This is what I did according to the training that we've attended. Okay, so that's that. So work back. And Ms. Isaac has asked a question before. You cannot ask any question again. So I think we are done with taking questions. Any other question you have, you can throw it in the WhatsApp group that we are using. So we are done with we are done with answering questions. So let's go back to our Excel. Okay, we are done with question. So we've been able to look at all these things. We've looked at logical function, and we discovered that the logical function, the if function on its own, is very powerful, right? We have some if. That's another one, which we are also going to look at in other training, okay? They are all powerful. You can combine the formula. You can use them to make statement, and you can get wonderful answer, wonderful result, okay? But you just need to understand what it means, how to interpret it. This if function, what is the interpretation? What is in the mind of the person that created this formula? Then you can also nest if functions, okay? Remember, you continue to nest if function until Excel sees a statement that is correct. Excel will not stop. That means that if you're nesting a formula and Excel doesn't get any correct answer, Excel will continue to look for, okay, Excel will now pick the wrong answer. Sorry, yes, there's a right answer, and there's a wrong answer. Okay, so that's that. But I'm just trying to let you know that if you're nesting a formula, Excel will continue to go on. The if function will continue to go on and on until Excel sees a statement that is correct before Excel will stop. So if you need the template for our payroll, feel free to ask in our group, okay? And we'll make it available to as many people that need the payroll from the payroll template, okay? I'm giving it to us. Let us go and learn it. Let's also go and study it. But don't forget what you need to do. You need to continue to follow us on our Facebook, continue to subscribe, continue to like and everything. So we are done with that. Let's now move further, okay? Let's move further. We've looked at the if. Let's check our and. We are still looking at logical function. So if you are looking at the and function, the and function returns true if all the arguments are true. Okay, returns false if all the arguments are false. Okay, so this one now is a different ball game. We're going to go to our worksheet to start looking at all those formulas. But before we do that, I also want to do something because I want us to stop at the if today. I don't want us to go beyond the if. I just want to tell us, let me just show us some shortcuts before we now continue. Let me just show some shortcuts so that we are not doing so much today that we don't want to do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to save this worksheet. Okay. Now, if I let me go to another worksheet. Now you can have a worksheet like this, or let me just press Ctrl N. Remember that if you have a worksheet opened like this, right? To open another worksheet, you can just press Ctrl N. So once you press Ctrl N, then how can you close a worksheet that is opened? To close a worksheet that is open, hold your Control and press F4. You know, there's this F4 yesterday that I told us about, that F4, we can use it to make our reference absolute. So let me come back to this place. Now, this is what we said, the shortcut yesterday. We said that if we hold our F4, did I write it here? Yes, I think I did it here. Okay, absolute. I said that to get absolute reference, you press the F4 key, and that is what you press. Okay, so the next thing is that if a worksheet is opened, let me put it here. So to open a worksheet, to open a new worksheet, you press Control O, Control plus O, okay? Control plus O, that's what you're going to press. Okay, now the next one, how about if you want to close, a worksheet that has been opened. If you want to close a worksheet that has been opened, then you now press Control F4. So Control F4 to close a worksheet. Press Control plus F4. You will see F4 key on your keyboard. So when you press Control F4, then you close any worksheet that has been opened. So let's go back to that worksheet that we opened the other time. This is a new worksheet that we open. So to close it, just hold your Control key and press F4. Can you see that? It's gone. Let's try it again. To open a new worksheet, press Control O, Control 0. We are opening a new worksheet. To close the worksheet, press Control F4 on your keyboard, and we have closed it. Okay. It means that to close this one also, we can also press Control F4, and we are going to close this workbook. Okay. But we don't want to close this workbook yet because we are still making use of it. Now, the next thing we want to look at is that most times I told us about this file. I said there is this giant toolbar that we call the ribbon toolbar, right? I said this is the ribbon toolbar. So when you want to go to the backstage view, what do you press? You can tell me. You want to go to the backstage view, what do you press?
File.
Yeah. So if you press the file, you get the backstage view. So at this backstage view, there are a lot of things you can do at the backstage view. You can save as. So what if you want to save as and you don't want to go to the file, you don't want to press the file. So if you want to save as, just press F12 on your keyboard. F12 on your keyboard, you are going to save your worksheet. So if you press F12 on the keyboard, that is where you get your save as. You don't need to go to the file tab. Just press F12 on your keyboard. You are going to save the worksheet. So let me put it at here. Number 9. To save a worksheet. So it's different from Ctrl X. So you know when you press Ctrl X, you are saving the workbook, right? But to save as, you want to save this thing as you want to name this file now that is open now. So let me go to a blank sheet. So before that, so to access, let me put it to access save as. Save as, okay? You know, you can always get that on your when you press the file key, right? You can always save as. So just press F12 on your keyboard. Press F12 on the keyboard. So let's go and check if it's going to work. Let's press Ctrl N to open a new worksheet. Okay, when you press Ctrl N, we know that if you want to close this worksheet, we can press Ctrl F4. But now we want to save this worksheet. We don't want to, if you want to save it, you want to save it like as a file name. You want to save the file name, mute your mic, please. If you want to save the file name, you can always go to File and go and save, okay? Just come to File like this, then come to Save As. Then from your Save As, go to Browse like this. When you browse, then you now come and Save As. So instead of you to go to all this length, okay, because you want to save a file, just don't do that, okay? To leave the backstage view, press Escape, right? So want to save this file. So just press your F12 on the keyboard. Okay, so look at it. I just pressed F12 on the keyboard and it brought out this Save As dialog box. Okay, so to save your file on the keyboard, press F12. Please mute your mic. Mute your mic. To save as on the keyboard, press F12. There are many things we are going to learn, okay? There are many things we are going to learn. Okay, yeah, so what if you want to select? Let's quickly do something. Let's press Ctrl N, or let's open another sheet. Let's open another sheet. Let's open another sheet and let's see. Okay, so close. What is it saying? Name. Oh, cancel. Okay, so I was just trying to show something. So now you can see now I have classwork here. I have another classwork too. How did I duplicate this my sheet? How did I duplicate it? If you want to duplicate a sheet, click on the sheet, right? Then hold your control key, then right click. If you right click, you will see, can you see this? Look at my mouse. Can you see my mouse? Can you see that there is a paper that is attached to my mouse, right? There's a paper attached to my mouse. So once you hold control key and you have this plus sign, then you can just, once you right, okay, let me redo it again. So I want to duplicate something now. I want to duplicate this classwork now. Okay, I will just hold my control key, then I will right click on this classwork. When I right click on it, I'm coming. Let me right click. So you right click on it, then you raise your cursor up. You discover that there's something like a paper that is attached to this my cursor. Okay, so it means that you are trying to duplicate. Now go to anywhere and just drop the paper. Just drop it. Move your hand from your right click. So once you do that, it's telling you that the name action already exists. Okay. Click yes to use the version of the name, or click no to rename the version of action you are moving, you are copying to. So now it's telling us that classwork already exists. That do we want to rename, or do we want to just leave it as that? So you can press yes. So you can see here now we have classwork 3, classwork 2. We are duplicating. Okay, it's just going to like be showing just put number to show that you have opened one before. We can delete this one. Just press delete. Yeah. So here we have classwork 2 now. So what we're going to do for this classwork now, we want to edit this thing. So we just double tap and we'll just call it exercise. Exercise. We want to do some exercise. Yeah. Fine. So we want to do some exercise here. So let's look at how to select the cell range. If you want to select the cell range, what can you do? If you want to select the cell range, what can you do? To select, now if you are typing something, for instance, you are typing something and then you don't want to leave where you are typing. Normally, if you are typing something here, if I say I love PDF, right? So if I press enter, I'm going to shift away from what I'm typing, right? What if I want to finish typing? I want to press enter and I want to remain in this on this cell. Okay. If you go to the name box, you are on cell C25. So let's say I want to type this thing. I want my cursor to remain in that place. So let me delete this thing first. So I'll say I love PDF. Okay, I love PDF. So now I want to press my enter, right? I want everything that I've typed to sit inside the cell. If I don't press enter, this thing I type, I love PDF, will not sit inside that cell. Okay, so now for it to sit inside the cell, I can either press enter or I can just press my tab. Okay, my tab, I'll leave that place, I'll go to another place. But how do I let this thing sit inside this cell and still remain on this cell? So, and my cursor will still remain on the cell. I love PDF. Okay, so what you're going to do is that hold your control key and press enter. Okay, you can see I'm holding my control key and I press enter. So if you are typing something, I want to remain, let's say I'm typing this thing now and I want to, like, maybe if I type this, I love PDF, I want to color it. I also want to put a border beside it. I want to do a lot of things, or I want to also now drag it down. For instance, now I want to autofill. Okay, I want to fill. Then this is what I can do. When I type that thing, for instance, I want to say like 2 million, right? 2 million. Okay, and then I want to remain there. I can just hold my control key and press my enter, control enter, and then everything sits inside the cell and I'm still on that highlighted cell. So if I want to now go and drag to autofill, I can just quickly drag it and I autofill, and it's like that. So that's that. So that is how to that's how to type in a cell and let what you've typed sit on that cell without you shifting away from that cell. That way, you can either bolding whatever you have typed. So let me do something now. I say, I love PDF. So what I want to do is I want to bolding this thing. I want to color I want to put a color in that cell. I also want to put a border around that cell. So this allows me to just press enter and leave that cell. I'll just press control enter and remain on that cell. Then I can press my control 1 to access the home tab, right? Remember control 1. So when I access my home tab, I can quickly press my the border I want to put for that place. I can press the border, I press my OK, then I can still put my color. Still press control 1 again and select fill Chrome. Well, let me see. Okay, so let me try something else. So another time I want to show us, how to use your alt. So if you press your alt key on the keyboard, you press your alt key, you can see all these mnemonics, all these things are highlighted, right? All these things are highlighted. So you want to access your home tab without pressing your home tab. You want to access insert without pressing insert. You want to access page layout. So this is what you do. Just come press your alt. Once you press your alt, then for page layout, press P. Can you see that? So the alt key, when you press it once, it activates the ribbon. Okay, you see all those tabs will be activated, right? Once those tabs are activated, then you cannot select where you want to go to. So let's undo. Let me start again. I want to access data. So I want to access data. Instead of me taking my cursor to go and click on data like this, I want to access data, and then from that data bar, I want to filter. Let's say I want to filter, I want to press on filter. So what do? I'll come here where I am. I press the alt key. Once I press the alt key, automatically it activates all these things. So for data, I need to press A. So let me do it again. I press alt key, then I press A. Then what do I want to do? I want to autofill. Then I press T. Okay, so I'm trying to sort now. You can see now it has put this drop down arrow here. It has put the drop down arrow here. How do I do that? I just simply press my alt key and I press some figures, some alphabet. Sorry, I press alt. Okay, I want to check data tab. I press A. I want to what do I want to do? I want to remove duplicate. For instance, I want to remove duplicate. I press M. So you say this can't be applied to the selected range. Select a single cell in a range. So it's telling me that there's no duplicate. Okay, let's assume I love PDF. So let me just autofill down. Okay, so when I autofill down, then I want to remove duplicate. Okay, so this is what I will do. I will select the area I want to remove the duplicate. Okay, what will I do? I press my alt key on the piano on the keyboard. When I press my alt key on the keyboard, it activates the ribbon toolbar. All the tabs are activated. Then what do I want to do? I want to remove duplicate in my sheet, right? I press, because I know that to remove duplicate in your sheet, you can always get it under the data tab. So I press A because A is activated. If you check here, you will see figures, alphabet that are activated. So I'm to press A now because I've activated the tab bar. I'll just press A. When I press A, then what else I want to do? I want to remove duplicate. I'll press M. And it's telling me that, okay, so what is it telling me? It say to delete duplicate value, select one or more column. Okay, it's column that contains duplicate. So it's column I'm to press, this is just one column I'm selecting. So I need to select more than one column. So column C. So let's just press enter. And it says, okay, 7 duplicate value found and removed. 1 unique value remains. So you can see that is how to remove duplicate in your worksheet. Okay, so I'm just feel that I should show us all those shortcuts because time is fast spent and we may not be able to do more today, but there's so much that we can do. Okay, there's so much we can do. Now, another thing I will also tell us is that if you have January, right? You have January, you can autofill. So I want to remain on this cell. I'll press Ctrl Enter. I remain on that cell. Then I'll take my cursor to this bottom, to the right hand side bottom of the cell. I can, once it becomes a plus, naturally my plus is white. But if I put my cursor here at this corner, it becomes a plus. Then I click on it, I right click, then I drag it down. We discover that all these things is going to populate. January, February, March, April, May. So we have pre-made series. There are series, inbuilt series in Excel, right? We have inbuilt series. You can also create your own inbuilt series. So let's say that we also want to do for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can do Monday. You can even do abbreviation. So once you do that, press your Control Enter. You remain on that cell. Then you come to this right-hand side. You can drag it and you create the series inbuilt. They are inbuilt. What if you want to create your own series by yourself? What if you want to create your own series by yourself? So what you do is that you want to create your own series by yourself. It's very easy. Are we ready to learn that?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to create your own series by yourself, the first thing is that you go to your file. So let's come back to our sheet. Let's come to our sheet now. This is 10, Abby. So this is 10. Now, to create your inbuilt series. Okay, so this is what you do. Number one, you go to file. You go to your file. You know when you go to a file, so yeah, go to file. Okay, then from your file, you now go to menu. So let's go to file. When you go to file, okay, then from the file, look for the file menu. Sorry, when you go to the file menu, then you are going to scroll down to options. Scroll down to options. So let's go back again. So from the file menu, right? From the file, go to file, from your file, then go to options. The next thing is options. Options. Go to options. So let's go back to file. From our file, we go to options. Okay. Then from your option, you now go to advanced. You see that the left-hand side of your screen, you have some drop down. So go to advanced. When you go to advanced, then you scroll down until you see where you have I'm coming, let me check. Edit custom list. You can see you have edit custom list. So let's go and check our keyboard again. So the first one, go to file. After you go to file, click it, then go to options. Then the next one, when you press option, then from the left-hand side, look for advanced. Look for advanced. Then from advanced, when you so let's check it again. Go to file, from your file, then go look for options. Options at the bottom. Click on options. Once you click on option, you have this drop-down menu. Then from the left-hand side, you will see advanced. Click on advanced. Once you click on advanced, then you now scroll down, scroll to the bottom. Okay. When you scroll to the bottom, you will see what they call create list for use in sort or field sequence. So click on this edit custom list. So click on it, edit custom list. So for this edit custom list, you will see that naturally you have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Fine. You also have January, February, March. So those are the two pre-made series. You can now create your own list. New list now. You have to create your own list. So just create your own list from here. You can see this box here now. You can create your own list. So let's say we want to fill want to say daily. Maybe we have staff. Okay. Daily, then Bola, we have Usman. We have Bello. We have Ibrahim. We have Toib. I don't know if I get this Toibo. Pardon me if you are Toib and I didn't get your name well. Sorry. We have John. We have Joseph. Okay, then the last one we have let's say Rachel. We have Rachel. So once you are done doing that, right? Once you're done doing that, click on your add. Once you click on add, then now click on OK. So then click on OK again. So what are we doing? First of all, go to File, go to Options, click on Advanced, scroll down. You scroll down and see this. So let me put a column. You're going to see something like, I'm coming, I want to put a column. Here you see edit custom list. You're going to see something like edit custom list. Once you see edit custom list, then you can go ahead. So let's try it again. We are going to our file. From our file, we look for options. From options, we look at the left-hand side, we will see what we call advanced. From advanced, we now scroll to the bottom, the last end of your screen. Scroll to the bottom, you will see edit custom list. Click on it. And when you say edit custom list, you will see all the lists that you already have. You already have Daily, Bola, Usman, whatever. You already have that name. Then you want to create a new one. So come here to this box and now create. Let's say we want to create orange. Orange. Maybe we make use of all this mostly. Banana. Banana. We have cashew. Who can spell cashew? Or apple.
Cashew.
S-A-S-H-E-W. Okay. So mute your mic. Cashew. And what other food can we people put to like that? So that is that. So now we can now come to the press add. Once you press add, then press your OK twice. The first OK, then the second OK is added. So let's now come to this our work exercise and let's try and get it. So yeah, we now come here. You know, we did John. Let's just press. You can start from anywhere. Just press John. Once you press John, then you can just, if you press John, you can come to this bottom and then autofill. You will see that the names will be autofill. Sorry, I'm coming. Autofill. Let me undo. Sorry. Let me check for something. Sorry, I'm coming. So let's go back to what we did. File, then we went to option, we went to advanced. From advanced, we now scroll down to our edit custom list. In our edit custom list, we have Bola, we have Bello, we have Usman. Oh, are we having, okay, so we have Dele. Okay, so we have, oh, look at the problem. My John that I put here, the N is far away. So it's John, J-O-N. So John, okay. Okay, so that is what the problem is. So let's click on OK again. Let's click on the add. Yeah, so it's there. Then we click on OK. And then we click on OK again. So the mistake, I mistakenly went to click the wrong one. So let's press John again. Okay, once you press John, Control Enter, then you come to the bottom here and autofill. Can you see that? So those names now, we have another list now that is created inside Excel. You can start from any of the names. So let's assume these names, you need to use them all the time. So you can start from Bello self. Maybe you want to remember names of your staff. Bello. Maybe you want to create another sheet and you need all the names of your staff. So just make them a custom list. Once you drag down, the names will just start populating. Then the next one, let's assume we are selling all those bananas or whatever it is. So let's press Apple. Let's say we want to get all the names of, we want to get the fruits that we want to go and buy or that we are selling. We just press it and then you autofill and automatically You can see apple, cashew, orange, banana, apple, cashew, orange, banana, and so on. So that's how you can create your own custom list. So our time is up. This is 9:11. So I hope today's class was interesting. I hope you gained from this class. So before we go, 2 minutes. Any question? 2 minutes before we go. 2 minutes. Okay, so I think we are good. We are good. Okay. So thank you everybody for making out time. Agboya, do you have a question? Are you raising your hand?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay, so thank you everybody for your time. We shall continue tomorrow by God's grace.